Hi, I'm Bonnie, Log Cabin Stitcher. Welcome to my channel and welcome to the glorious mess of my sewing room. You can follow me on Instagram at Bonnie Log Cabin Stitcher. I had not even planned on doing a video today, and I had my cup of coffee and I was starting my morning out the way I love, especially knowing that I don't think I have anywhere to go today. So there is stuff everywhere. And I thought, oh my gosh, I've got to share this with my stitching family so you get to see me on vacation. This is what I'm calling my Maggie week, and I'll tell you why in a minute. But there is stuff everywhere and I love it. So if you've been following me, I am in my second week of my self-gifted vacation, and last week had a lot of different things going on. This week I thought was going to be like, woo, a whole week, no plans, just maybe seeing a friend or two and doing stuff. And of course, it has been like an incredibly spontaneous things coming up. And when I don't have the mess of working on call and having to be available 24 hours a day, even if I don't get a call, oh my gosh, that is just so tedious. And it's funny. I was up at the cabin where I wasn't expecting to be Monday morning, and I get a text from the guy that I work with because I'm independent contractor. And he's like, when are you coming back to work? Question mark, question mark, question mark. And I was like, I don't know, maybe next week. And he's like, I'm so tired of the yahoos that are covering for you. And I told him, I said, I'm having fun. Just tell them to double check their work, have fun with the clients, and actually give a darn about their job. So it's like, boom, I'm not working right now. And so we chatted a little bit, and then I was like, I'm done. I just want to have fun. So this is not like a regular FlossTube at all. This is just me for my stitching family that wants to see what's going on and what I'm doing this week, because the last video I was very goofy because I just felt the incredible freedom of being me and doing what I want to do without the constraints that I usually feel around work. So this will probably continue to be the silliness, but oh my gosh, I was trying to think, how old am I? How old do I feel? What does it matter? I feel like I'm doing great right now. So I want to share with you some of the things that I have made. So what was it? I had really two days. So the day that I did the video, I don't even remember what day it was. And part of the next day, I got 2 projects done, and then I got a call from my husband, and then I'll tell you what happened with that, and it was fun. But these are the things that I got done. So that day that I did the video, mail came in, and I said, I hope it's a package. It was. It was my Maggie Benartex used a wonderful find of a $15 Buttonwood Farm book. And so I had all these other project plans, and then I got a cup of coffee and I got the book while I was uploading the video, and I thought, oh my gosh, there's new projects to make. So here is what happened when I opened the Buttonwood Farm book. This is actually, it's got stuff all over it. It should have been in the frame by now, but of course, Kurt called and the cabin's called, and the mountains are calling and I have to answer. That's John Muir. And so I did. So I had this put together and done, and then I wanted to hand quilt it. So I told him I'll be up there as soon as I can, and I got this pinned and ready, and so I hand quilted it, and so this is ready to go. And I wanted to show you while it's still movable. I had this where I sit and stitch on my bed up in the mountains, and I know I had something on Instagram, and I've had a video of me up at the cabin too. So if you care, you can look through my old videos. But I had this, while I was stitching, I had this laying on the back of a chair just so I could enjoy it. And it wasn't planned, but I really want you to see, this is what I try to do. But this was a piece of over-dyed wool, or hand-dyed wool, but look at the shading that it looks dark here and light here, as if like an artist, if an artist was to do it, they would have done it. And it was kind of planned, kind of a beautiful happenstance, but in this piece of wool, this was the color I was going for, yet the darker tones around it just made something glorious. So I am going to be putting that in this beautiful old frame that I've had for over 30 years, because my mom and I used to go yard sailing, and this was something that she and I had picked up at one time, and it's been sitting in my closet for a while, getting banged around, but that it's prim. But I am going to give it a little bit of a wax. I just have, actually, I will probably just use coconut oil, because I used to have a product for furniture wax that I used to use, but it had artificial ingredients, and coconut oil is going to do the same thing. So I'll give it a bit of a shine up, and then I will pop it in that frame and I will show it to you. So that's one thing. And then the other thing, and I know I put this on Instagram, but the day that I was working on this, which is from Pure and Simple, the book is somewhere. So that's where this is not going to be my usual, like, this is the pattern, this is the book. Oh no, you at the end, if you hang with me all the way to the end, I am going to take the iPad off of the stand, and you are going to get to look at the glorious mess of my sewing room. So this is from Pure and Simple, Maggie Benartex, and I'm going to do it careful and show you why, but this is actually a scissors case. So this is a bigger pair of, this is my 5-inch. So I will have a shorter pair of scissors, probably my 4-inch ones, that I can use in here, but I'm going to tell you why I may not. As I was making this, I thought, oh my gosh, I know Maggie has tons of different vegetables. There's a pea pod, there's turnips, there's radishes. There's so many. I thought how fun it would be. I was talking to Lisa Prinz on Greenway. We were doing a video chat, and I said, I'm going to make all the vegetables. And then in my last FlossTube, I showed some old garden tools that I had, and I thought, wouldn't that be so cool for a project? But the hand, it kind of looks like if someone had done homemade stitch somebody up after they got a wound. But this was kind of awkward, but it was four layers of this wool, and it was a thicker wool. And at first I was going to do, oh, I'll just do 2 layers. And it's like, no, let's just do it that way. But and I just love the little floppy tops, looks like rabbit ears. But this button is my favorite part of this whole thing. And on my Instagram, someone commented and they said, did you make that Dorset button? I was like, oh, is that what it's called? So I Googled it and went to Wikipedia. We know how accurate they always are. But that button is the favorite part of that whole thing. And I have more of them. And I responded back. It's like, no, I got into my mom's antique buttons, and I know that there's more of them, because as I just did, I have a giant jar, and that's only some of them. And I dumped it out into the lid, and I just picked, because I thought I'm not going to take forever getting distracted on finding a button. I'm going to keep moving on. But oh my goodness, that button is old, and when I was stitching it on, there is the fabric. It's like a fabric paper backing on it, and it was very fragile. And so I just did a couple stitches, and I knew, okay, this, I love the button, so it may really just be a display, because it's gorgeous. But those were the 2 wool projects that I actually got done. So, but it was pretty good. 2 wool projects. One's basically done, the bird one, in 2 days. Wool is fabulous and it's fun, but I have 3 boxes of wool at the moment, and at one time I had them all, they're all over the place. Like literally, I have to be careful where I walk. They're all over the place, because as I was preparing this one last night, which I had not planned on doing, as I was preparing this last night, you have to choose the colors, what goes with what. Unless you get a kit and they're like all there, you have this mess. And the background, I don't have big chunks of wool, but I actually did have a big chunk of over-dyed red wool, and I thought, I don't know that I want to do that for the whole back of the heart. And so I got all my wovens out, and they're on the floor, and they're right there. And some of them are right there. And I went through and I thought, I'm determined to find something that I have. So it's actually just, I don't have my glasses on, so I can't see what is the right side, but this is just brushed cotton. So it's a plaid brushed cotton. It's going to be the front and it's going to be the back. And I wanted to explain something to you because Lisa was asking me, so are you doing the freezer paper and just pinning it on, or are you doing the light steam a seam, as we learned about? If you look at Lisa Bonjean's Wool Needle and Thread book, that I've talked about a lot before. Lisa did get her copy. It is a great resource. So this is what I wanted to explain to you. When I did this bird project, I did not have the steam a seam. And so I made an order and it got delivered the other day, but I thought I'm not waiting because I haven't used that all the time in the past. So this was just with the freezer paper. I made the pattern, put it on there and pinned it. I found it easy. Right now I have all the little applique pins. They're literally called, let's see if I can get it out of here. They are called applique pins, and they are much shorter than the typical, I've showed these before. So this is the regular quilting pin that I use. This is the applique. So you can see the difference in size. Maybe if I hold it up this way. Yep, because I want to get stitching. So this is the quilting pin. This is the applique pin. So it has a smaller head and it is shorter. So I think it's about 5/8 of an inch. So as I pinned it, I kind of tucked the tip back into the wool. And because I'm used to doing, when I do quilting, I pin baste it and I hand quilt it. And I'm so used to the threads getting caught on the pin, so it is so marvelous each time when I stitch, and I get to take a pin off and ding, I put it in my little container. It's like, boom, one down, because it is great when the pins are gone. It's just how I've done it for years and how I choose to do it. So here's something fun. You're going to get to see all these different things. I just threw stuff here. When I got back from the cabin yesterday, I just threw stuff down, brewed some coffee, started planning. So this is a funny tin, but I have a beautiful ceramic container up at the cabin. The top has ferns, and I don't have a lot of decorations out because it's under construction, and that's why I ran up there. And I don't have many of my decorations out, but I have this out because I love it and it's useful. These are all from all my hand quilting that I've been doing recently up at the cabin. These are all my pins, and I have tons of these. So someday I may explain how I do that, or I may not, but I just use the bent pins, and that's how I do that. But I brought those home, so let's put those there too. So it is quite lovely, and I'm used to that. So when I was using those applique pins, really wasn't that big of a deal. It didn't shift stuff too much. And so it was not at all a problem with it. A problem with this. And then I was talking to Lisa because we were talking about Osnaburg. And look there's the back of my hand quilting. But this is just some Osnaburg, and hopefully I'll remember to share that with you at the end of the video. But maybe I'll just do it right now. Osnaburg is just a loose weave a loose weave woven. I had some from a long time ago when I was going to do a display as a vendor, and I've got yards and yards of it, and I have been using it. But I just found some because of the reason why I had to run up to the cabin, and I found a big chunk of it, and I thought, oh great, now I'm gonna tea dye some more of it. I'm trying to talk fast because I wanted to do this as a short video because I'm going to stitch. So it's like, boom, girl, chill out. That's what I say. If I have to rewatch a video, I'll be, girl, slow down. So Osnaburg is just a nice loose weave. You can see it is pretty prim. And a lot of times it's kind of like woven from flax, I guess. I'm sure they don't use that now. But whatever it is just a nice, very inexpensive fabric that you can use. And so I am using that for the backing. The other thing I wanted to show you, this is also for a backing. I do not have I have a bigger, no, I don't have any large black or over-dyed or dark brown pieces of wool. Tomorrow, I just might, because I have a play date with a friend. We're going to go shopping. But I have brushed cottons, so that's what I'm using now. A lot of brushed cottons for the background. But it goes with it. But I was telling Lisa, I like soft. So I want to match the softness of the wool with the softness of a backing as I'm stitching it. I had this guy on a regular cotton fabric, and it was stiff and kind of crunchy. And I thought, sounds and textures bother me. It's like, I don't even want to stitch that. So I changed it to a softer fabric. I enjoy using these. And then I have some amazing, that's the one from the bird, but these are wovens. Woven fabrics, these I know I got at Primitive Gatherings. They are more expensive, but they are wonderful. And it's kind of like the taupe duabo. I don't even know how to say the word. But it's like if you follow Yoko Sato or have any of her books, Yoko Sato, I don't even know how to spell it. And I may do show notes or not because I really want to get stitching. But the Japanese kind of quilting, I have a whole Pinterest board of Japanese quilting. And the darker, the purpley browns, gorgeous. But that's what these are, and that's why I have them. And I am going to be using them for my backings on my wool, because if I only had one thing to into, then yes, I would spend more money on wool to get the bigger backgrounds. I have way too many hobbies, way too much money going out for different things. So let's use what I have for the backgrounds. That's what I say now until I go shopping tomorrow. We'll see what I say tomorrow. So I thought, well, this, even though this had come in, so this is the light Steam-A-Seam 2 that Lisa Bonjean does, and I got a multiple package because I think there's only 5 sheets per this. But I thought, I know, I was on the phone on speaker doing all this, and I was just, as I was talking to, I had a lot of conversations yesterday, friends, husband, I thought, I'm going to start a project. And so that's because it was all out, and that's what I was doing. I thought, I can do it. I can do it. This is what I want to do. And so I shared in probably a January FlossTube video about a book somewhere under here, Folk Art Threads, and it was a bunch of heart projects. And so I thought, I'm just going to do it. So I just started tracing the pattern on freezer paper because this was across the room from me, and I thought, I don't want to think about how to use that. This worked just fine. So I did the freezer paper, and these are kind of the tips that I wanted to share with you, that you got to keep your pieces together because you never know when you're going to use them again. So these are just you can get plastic bags, Ziploc bags anywhere. I get the smaller ones at Hobby Lobby. These I probably got on Amazon. This is like what a usual pattern would go into. These are really great. I have these craft stickers from my oil classes that I do. And so that's what I'm going to label these and be purposeful, because this morning, oh, I see another one. I see all these loose pattern pieces, and I may want to design something, and I may later want to pull this. That's where I see one of these loose pieces. I may want to pull this element from something or this element from something. And if I've already got that freezer paper pattern, I don't need to redo it. So 2 things. As I was preparing this last night, you can see it's kind of getting wadded up a little bit, and it's distorting because of all the pins. So I thought, well, I'm not going to redo this because it's done. I'm going to make it work, and I will stitch it. But I thought, okay, so that is the benefit. If you have lots, or if I have lots of pieces, yes, I will do the Steam-A-Seam light, and I will use that because I don't need to use pins. And so this is not going to be a how-to. Get that book from Lisa Bonjean. So this is just going to be me showing you what I'm doing and how I'm thinking about things. And because this is so plain, the pattern design has fancier stitches around here, and it really shows up and it pops and looks gorgeous. So that's my thinking. Not a lot of pieces, maybe easier just to pin it. More pieces, use the Steam-A-Seam. So as I was working last night, there was some kind of heavy stuff that came up, and I was just talking to my husband and friends about it, and it's working out great. But as I was doing that, I was on the phone a lot more than I had thought. And so I just started tracing out things, because as I took, oh gosh, this is just my life. And that's why this is not going to be a regular floss tube. This is more just of a chatty. This is my life. So I have all these Maggie Benartex books. Let me get a drink. I have Maggie Benartex books. And I don't have a lot of space on my wall. So a lot of them I want to take from maybe the bigger piece that it's going to be, reduce it down. So I went down to my UPS store. I know the owner. She's a friend of mine. And so I was just chatting with her for a while. And then instead of having them reduce the size, I said, can't I just do my own resizing? Because I don't have a copier anymore that resizes. And so she's like, yeah, I'll unlock that. You just go play. So I had all my books here in my project bag, and they're still in here with I found that if I reduced it by 75%, or it did 75% of the pattern, that's how I think I'm going to use them. But instead of coming home and doing what I had planned on that, because of a conversation we had, it started this whole other thing. And so it's just like life. This is a very spontaneous week. Oh, here's that book. Great reference book. So that's how I learned about the steam a seam, going on the floor. Oh, and here, my quilt table is in progress. This is me, and this is why I wanted to show you. That's why this is going to be titled, What Does Creativity Look Like? This is what it looks like. And then it's also going to look like me with my ridiculously long hair, because I need to make an appointment, but I keep thinking, I'll do it later. I just want to stitch. But this is the point where I will get and I will just hack it off, or I have a clip that I'll put it up. But what does creativity look like? It looks like this. Comfy clothes, a mess. Hair is going to go up because I'm not going to bend over and have my hair get in my mouth. But this is what it looks like. And this is how my mind works. So last night when I was playing, I most of the time didn't have anything going, because remember all the voices that I have in my head, they were saying, you can do this, you can do this, you can do this. Oh, start on that, or start on this, or go make another pot of coffee. So all those voices were going on. Once in a while, I would have something playing, but I didn't even want to listen to music. I didn't, because I really do better when I don't have to worry about going to work. I don't have anything planned. I don't have anything going as far as sound. I just let all my friends in my head come out and talk to me and tell me all the things that I can do. And I usually listen to, because this is it, make another pot of coffee. This is an amazing, so I have let's see, not just get it done. It was a joy nevertheless. The beginning of November, I talk about my coffee pot and why it is marvelous for me, and it can come in my sewing room because I make extremely strong coffee. I usually use decaf, but that's me. That's me. So this is that book. This is the project. And instead of all the other, because when I was up at the cabin, I grabbed my Maggie books and a notebook, and I was drawing out things that I might want to change, starring all the things, because there's about 85 projects literally that I want to make from all those books. But what did I do when I get home? Nope. I started doing the freezer paper for this project because I found something that I can use for a background, or I think I can. But I was on the phone, so that's where I couldn't do too much. But I've got that. And then this morning, I thought, as I'm having my coffee, looking out at the garden, something else came up, because I went to look in my what I call my UFO cupboard, my unfinished object for quilts cupboard, and I pulled something else out, and then I pulled something else out, and I thought, oh my gosh, what does it matter? It's me. And with Melanie from Melly Ellie Stitches on YouTube, she and I this month together are doing hashtag Just Get It Done June SAL for Stitch Along. And this ties in with that, because I really want to get things done in June. But I thought, well, this heart did not get done in January, February. So why not in June just get it done so I have it as a display for Valentine's Day? Ching ching! It knocks that out. So I really am working towards these goals. Then Lisa at Prims on Greenway, she and I are doing hashtag Wool Along Friends. So that's what I'm trying this June, to just get things done that I've started or I'm going to complete. Maybe I like the radish. I started that afternoon, finished that afternoon. That's just get it done. So all these things, those are the goal. Those are my parameters roughly for June. So it will not get done in June, but I've wanted to do this for years. So what the heck, why not? So that's what I'm doing. So I get this book out, and then this is me. This is Bonnie pre-FlossTube, before you guys knew me. My first FlossTube video that I did was September 5th. So this is me as I'm looking at these patterns. This is still from the same book. But as I'm looking at these patterns, this is what I see. I see this drawing, and this says, what does it say? 8/2/20, Chad's move out day. And I came home, and that's when the FlossTube Bonnie was born that day. So pre-FlossTube Bonnie, this is what she planned. This is what she does. I had a project that I was starting, and then it turned into another project, and it got drawn out because, gosh, that was back in August. So this is something that I'm going to do with some of these pieces. And then I thought, just get it done June. This is that. So this is what I started before FlossTube, and then the rabbit hole. I went down the FlossTube rabbit hole, and I'm loving it. But right now I'm pulling back a little bit for June because I did Stitch Mania. Loved it. Lots of cross stitching. But now I'm going to pull back a little bit, and I'm going to go back in my rabbit hole or back in my sewing room and do some of the things that I did before FlossTube. Because before FlossTube, quilter, wool applique, making bead jewelry. And I see this. Okay, speaking of that, I'm going to put this in my hand. I did this because I knew today is going to be just whatever. Today is just whatever video. But I have all these other things. So that's where I'm pulling back a little bit from the cross stitch, because I realize cross stitch is incredibly helpful for me when I've got too many things on my mind, or I come home from work tired, and the creativity for me cannot happen when I am tired, or where I cannot make a mess and just leave it. Cross stitch is great. I pick it up, it tells me what to do, and I do it, and I stitch it. This is what I wanted to share with you. So talking about my mom's button box, this is an old leather button that I did. This was a bracelet that I took apart because it was way too long and too complicated. And then I didn't undo it, but I just cut it and made it into a shorter bracelet. But that's the glory for me of having all these old buttons, is I've got them going on. Now we're just going to put that on my desk. Okay. It's just a chat. So different. If you usually, when I go to rewatch these to see something, I always think, oh, I've got all those rings on, and you see them. So these are my rings and my mom's rings. But this was a ring that was my mom's, and I generally could not stand wearing this in the summertime because it's thick. And I see sometimes people wearing these thick bracelets, and or rings or bracelets, and I love them. But for me, it would feel claustrophobic in the summertime. But I got it out, and I thought, I'm on vacation. It's cool. It's actually overcast and cold. And I thought, great, I love it. And then again, I got these out. These are my mom's earrings. She used to go to Taos with my dad and friends a lot. Taos, New Mexico, and got a lot of silver jewelry. And I had the ring and the earrings packed away, because my niece Emily is really missing my mom a lot. And so my brother was saying, is there any jewelry that Emily could have because it helps her when she's missing her Granby? And I said, absolutely. And so, and at the time, because I love to share and I love people, and I just said, absolutely, I've got jewelry I'd be happy to share. And then I hung up and I thought, what did I say? What did I say? Because I have all the jewelry that I love, and it was my mom's, and it was special to me. And I thought, Emily, I love my Emily, and she needs it. And she's a young woman now, missing my mom. Yes, so I went in my bathroom before I could change my mind, and I had like maybe a pair or two of earrings. It's like, I'm not going to share those. But I pulled out rings, and because Emily is tiny, and my mom had very large hands, so I pulled all this stuff out, and it's been sitting in a box because I love people and I love to share, but I don't have good follow through. So they sat and they sat and they sat until one day I just told Emily, we need to FaceTime so that we can go through this jewelry, one for you, one for me, one for you, one for me. And it was marvelous. And so in this, Emily said that, yeah, that would probably be too thick for her, but we divided up some jewelry. So this were one of the earrings that I kept, and then she chose a different pair. So because it's so chatty, and you know, here's the funny thing. I get into this box thinking that I need to just show all these things as if it was like one project, this. So generally that's kind of how I would like to do like the beginning of my floss tubes. But I am, and I shared on my another video about how I am just enjoying and reveling in Kate at the Last Homely House, her YouTube channel. She literally just has chats. That's what I listened to last night, because I could listen to her chatting or pause her if I needed to focus. She just talks about stuff, and I enjoy it, and I love it, and it's very relaxing for me because I don't feel the need to purchase all the things that I'm seeing for FlossTube. So there's a time for both. There's a time for my FlossTube videos. Then there's a time for this one, which is more of a chat. And I'm even starting to think like Kate, because she's in Northumberland in England. And I'm thinking like she's talking about just having a bit of a clear out. And so this morning, that's what I was thinking, just having a bit of a clear out. And some of these phrases and sayings, it's like, this is Kate. And I love it. But also, guard your heart, for it's the wellspring of life. That's what I shared on my last floss tube. Who you watch, what you see, what you listen to goes in your mind, comes out your mouth. So it's not like I just listen to all pure and wonderful things, but those things come out of my mouth. And do I want that or not? So I love these snippets and these thoughts, and Kate's lime green couch. Well, if you know Kate, go learn about her lime green couch. I would love to be on the lime green couch with Kate and her followers and her friends, and getting all the biscuits passed down to me from Kate, because it's marvelous. But my followers would be on my sheet covered futon. That's what you would be on at the moment, and we would have fun. And it's small, but it could spread all the way out to another country, and that's Kate, and that's I love it. And that's the thought of when I'm sitting in here alone. Riley's not even in here right now because he wasn't in here last night because there's stuff all over the couch, and I want to show you. And I don't need to rush, because those that are still here are just hanging out, stitching. You're hanging out with me on my my sewing room couch. So I'm not going to restart this because it's 34 minutes in, but I just felt that release of, I don't need to rush. And I can let this video take forever. I'm not doing show notes because I'm going to get back to stitching. And it can take forever to upload because I don't need to listen to anything. But this is what I really wanted to share on. This is what my creativity looks like. See, I'm already talking slower. I can look at this glorious mess, and I can see in this my collections. I've got my cross-stitching stuff, and I did get a new pattern. I'll share that on my next cross-stitching, but it's still in the Ziploc bag because that's Bonnie when she gets back to work. The cross-stitch is great for that. This is the Bonnie not working, glorying in, I think I get to stay home today. And I've got my new little collection of hand-dyed linen from Blackberry Primitives. I've got my Maggie books out. I've got my wool. Look at this. Piled here is tons of red wool that I was auditioning, plus I can feel it, plus flannels. But you couldn't tell the difference. This is flannel. This is flannel. But that's the beauty of, and that is wool. From a distance, you can't see it. But I was looking through my flannels, and that was almost the back of that that heart. But this was in with my flannels. I don't know where I got it. Doesn't really matter. But it feels like wool, and it's thick. Is this wool? I don't think so. I think it's just a very different loose weave type of flannel. But I thought, wow, that's awesome. I love having all these different things out so that I can audition and I can just play and I can just do things. So this, the Bonnie before FlossTube, this may come out and I may make the background for that, because if I'm thinking too, just get it done June, well, that's a smaller project, and I need to have projects that are prepared and just waiting in a project bag, so that when I have to run up to the cabin, or when I do, or not have to, I didn't have to, Kurt was going to come down here, and I was like, no, I'd like to go up there too. And it was a good thing I did, because we'll have a bit of a chat about what happened, and breakfast with Kat that we got to enjoy as a spontaneous thing. But if I have a project prepared, that's where this heart may just stay like this, because it's ready. All I need to do is sit and stitch it. Whereas this week, I need to see today what wools I need, so that when I go down to buy some wools tomorrow, I know which colors that I need. So it's maybe a day of just preparing things. Because when I got the call from Kurt on Saturday of, like, he went to go stain, he's up at our cabin. It's been under construction for years. We've had series of unfortunate events, and I've shared about those on other FlossTube videos. But the whole downstairs is under construction, and some days I'm okay with it, and some days it just, I cry because it's a mess. And I want to have my friends up there, or I just want to sit and not trip. Because right now, downstairs, we've undone our electricity because he needs to do a project. And so I go downstairs and I have to turn on the stupid flashlight so I don't trip over something as I'm going to the restroom at night. And some days I'm just like, I'm done with this. Yet I want to be that wife for Kurt, because he's honoring something that I wanted to do. I don't want to be the nag. I want to support him. But the whole reason we are redoing the downstairs and restoring it was an idea that I had, because when we bought it, we had Guido the Butcher, is what we call him, but he had just done the cabin, and we bought it and we loved it, but it was drywall on the inside. It's a log cabin, a real log cabin. Drywall on the inside, and then Livia liked pink, and there was mauve pink paint everywhere in a log cabin, and it was just like, when we bought it in 1990, we were like, this pink paint is not going to last. Oh, it did, and still, no, all the pink paint is gone, because what I told Kurt was, instead of just redoing it, I'm not going to go over why we have to redo it, because we had some water damage. Instead of redoing it, we were going to repaint it. There was a part where the interior logs were exposed. because I had always told Kurt, they're real logs. What does it look like if there was no drywall? And Kurt it would be an electrical nightmare because they're half logs. And I would always dream before the water damage, what does it look like? And what could we do? And wouldn't that be so amazing? Because I've always loved primitive. This used to be at the cabin. Before the damage, I'm not going to cry. Oh, whatever. If I cry, this wood thing was up at the cabin before we had the water damage, before the fires, before our life changed because of some jerk arson. Our life and everybody's in the mountains changed. Before that, that thing was up there. But I had always told Kurt, wouldn't it be so cool? And he's like, I don't think so. Let's just let it be. Well, series of unfortunate events, and we're trying to take advantage of where we are right now. So my goal was to have a log cabin on the inside. His goal was just to get it done. And so we had bought a bunch of drywall and taken it up there, and he said it would be a lot quicker just to put the drywall back on, paint it some different color besides pink trim. But I said, it's that Bonnie's what if? What if we restored it? What if we made it look like it was when it was built in 1947? What if? And he honored me and he said, okay, but it's going to be a while. I had no idea how long that while was going to be. We reopened it about 7 years ago. I had no idea. It would still be in progress, but it is. And it is. But right now, Kurt's up there honoring me, and because at one time I said, let's just put it back together, and he goes, oh no, we are way too far into this. He has invested so much time. We have to think about all the things that we have to do. We have to plan, and then winter comes, and then we don't get it redone. So now I have a cabin notebook, and it's like, let's write it down, because where we have figured, because of Pinterest, we have figured things out, and because he will do them, he will figure out what to do, but then by the time we go to do it, we've totally forgotten. So now we're writing things down, even the mixes and the stain and everything. So he has made the casing, around the trim for the window. We're doing it kind of craftsman primitive. It's us. It's Kurt and Bonnie, and it's our cabin. And it is the parts that are coming closer to completion in the bathroom are totally amazing. And that's the thing is, the cabin will always be a WIP, a works in progress, or a UFO, unfinished object. There will never be a completion to it because it's so old and the earth shifts. It'll always be under construction, but it is. I told Kurt this time, and he cleaned it up before I went up there that time too. So he honors me, and he cleaned it up for me coming up there. It was wonderful. So even though it was the spontaneous thing of I needed to run up there, I have, for the first time in years, I have hope of it getting done. And I told him I can see it because I'm very visual, because we ordered the blinds. That was another unexpected thing. We needed to order the blinds because I found them on sale. That's why he needed to run up there and measure. And he is doing the window casing. He has to do everything about the window. And we decided on the color paint. I can see it now. So one night before I have to open the refrigerator door to even find where to plug in the stupid light. So a lot of times people will know we have a little log cabin in the mountains. Oh, that must be fun. Yeah, it is. But it's a heck of a lot of work. And on the outside, it looks gorgeous. But on the inside, oh, no, it's not. So I was down there one night, and I was looking, and because I had found the light to plug in, and I thought, I can see it now. I can see the gorgeous dark brown casing, and I could see the logs. When they finish, they need a little more sanding and staining. I can see it. And for a while, because I thought, don't go there, because it was too hard, because I thought it may never get done. So Kurt's up there, I'm down here. But when I went up there, it was so relaxing because I'm not working. It wasn't just working on Saturday, running up there while he was up there working, then running back for work. It was the old Bonnie. It was Kurt's wife, Bonnie, going up there, and we had fun. And we took, he ran out of a supply, and he had to rebuy a brush, and we had to run down the hill, and he was like, and I said, let's have a date. Let's go together. I have Riley. I have a little crate, a soft crate that I could even have taken him into Home Depot if I needed to. But I said, let's make it a date. And so that's what it was. He ran into Home Depot, and I said, I'm craving the Habit. So the Habit is just a grill, it's like real meat, I think. And so we did that, but it was not in a good area, and it was hot, and there was nowhere. We didn't want to just sit in the car, which is a good thing because it was a mess. So we drove until we could find some shade, and it turned into, and I had a neat blanket. I had a plasticky blanket in the car. And so we found a parking lot, and it was on a Sunday in the shade with grass, and we laughed. Kurt said, there's even ants crawling on the blanket. And so the burger made a mess. I went to take a bite, and it just emptied, all the juice emptied into my lap, and I'm like, we had one napkin. So it was fun, and it turned, instead of just him running down the hill, we both went together, and we both had a date, and it was fun. Then that morning, we usually take what I call the town walk. And it was I thought it was before it got too hot, but we went to do our little town walk, which is a dirt road. It's not a town. And I like doing the same thing. So even though it's the same route, sometimes we'll see different neighbors and have different chats, or no neighbors. But he goes, let's do something different. And this is where I need to get out of that groove. He was going to go down to the creek area. And my thought is, there's bears down there. And then it was different than my groove. It was different than the walk I thought I was going to have. And, he's calling me. Let me tell him. I got to call him in a second. Can I call you later? Okay. And I need to get finished soon because I don't know what he needs. But anyway, we went down the creek walk, and I said, okay, as long as you go first, because we didn't have any of we were going to do the town walk, so it didn't have any of our stuff in case we ran into a bear. So he's walking first, and then all of a sudden, it was wonderful. It was cool, and you could smell the creek, and you could smell the woodland smells that are different than woodland smells in the sun. And it was fun. No bears. We didn't see any bears, but we knew that they were there. So it was wonderful. And then we went to do just this other little walk, and we were going to go down a hillside to cross the creek and get up to the other side, to the dirt road. And Kurt said, those are bear tracks, I think. And I said, huh? And they were, because it was a steep hillside, and you could see where she dug the claws in. And so we both had our sandals on because we weren't planning on this walk. And he went down first, and then Riley, whoop, he was off on a leash. And then I went down, and I had my good Birkenstock sandals on. And I landed on my butt, and shoe went flying, and I was like, okay, these are my good sandals. Let's do something different. And so we went a different way. And but in that, it was so fun. I think I have a picture of, I'll put it on Instagram, because I took a picture of just the ferns growing up through a log, and a picture of Riley crossing the creek. And he had so much fun. But he would go after the bear, and he's little. Our friend goes walking, and he has two big dogs, and they go after the bear, and he's still a little concerned because he's like, what would they do if the bear turned around? So we ended up walking past some friend's house, and they were all out there having breakfast by the creek, and Kat called to us, and she said, come on down. And so we went down, and we sat with them and got to meet her friend, or her family. But she was still in her pajamas, because that's what we do in the mountains. We're so secluded that usually there's not someone walking by. And so it was just so fun. So we were with them for an hour or two. And that was the spontaneous, marvelous time that I have, even though I thought I was going to get all my wool done. ended up having a great time. But I didn't have all my projects with me. So I had my hand quilting with me. So, and I stayed longer because then I needed to make, because I told Kurt, what do you have that you need 2 people to work on? And let's do that while I'm up here. So I ended up staying 1 extra night, and I thought, I don't know, I have enough stitching with me, because I happy hands, happy heart. I'm a stitcher. I had not grabbed a cross stitch project bag, but I did bring this quilt, so I got a lot done on this whole bottom half. I'm unpicking, so I'm undoing the thread that I had before, and this whole part got hand quilted here, down here. So, but my fingers were really sore from last weekend. So, but I got that done and I loved it. What else did I want to share with you? There is just so much stuff that I want to share with you. And this is where I need to finish this because I need to see what Kurt needs. But when I was looking through the Maggie books, she had some pin cushions that she had either purchased or made from old quilts. And that's what I'm going to do with this. Or she also has something from, and I shared this on my last video. This is just a piece of an old quilt. But I love it, so I'm going to do something with this. Then she also has something called The Remains of the Day, and a little story about that. But she just took her pieces, put something together, and so that may go in that too. And then while Kurt was doing staining, I have this playing card box that I bought from something that I saw Lori from Mischievous Stitches. It was sticking, so it still needs to dry. So I'm not going to clip it, but this is what I'm finding. I am going to do a wool project, and it will have all wool stuff on the inside because it's perfect for my Aurifil threads. So this is one of the colors that we're staining up at the cabin, but I'm going to put a wax on the outside of it when it dries. What else? Then my Rosa, when she sent me my Duchess hoop, she sent me this project, and I thought, oh, I could get this out. I could start this because I already had, this was the cloth that I was going to do. That looks like snow. And then I thought, oh, what if I did this and changed and changed and changed? And I started drawing things out. And that's just what creativity looks like. But also, I had shared in my last FlossTube about if Maggie can cut up an old army blanket, I can too. So yesterday, I pulled my box of wool blankets out. And then I was telling my husband that I'm going to do it. He goes, oh, but I need a wool. I said, there's plenty of wool blankets. But this one, there's a project that I'm going to do, and I didn't have enough green wool. And I thought, yeah, I do in those. But I have 2, what I believe are army blankets. And then I thought, is this really an army blanket? Because I shared my grandfather was in, I don't know what he was, World War II. I can't remember what he was, but I need to talk to my dad about that. Then this morning, as I was looking at my couch, this is how I tag things. It's just a pin with a piece of fabric. I don't know if you can see that. It says US. It's outline, it says US. And I thought, oh my gosh, if I hadn't gotten that out, I wouldn't see this. What am I going to do with this? I think I am going to use this. Because now, before it was like, yeah, Maggie can do it, I can do it. But now it is kind of like, but again, it's been sitting in a box. What can I do that will be something with this US in the background? Oh, I would love to do that. But also, there is great wool in here that I can use for projects that I want to use now. So, but there is another green blanket that I may use because I may now decide, I don't know. So it's just like the guilt of that is coming back where I was so haphazard before. Not haphazard, but I can do what I want to do. Then this morning I got an alert, or it was yesterday, from, I ordered from 123 Stitches. And there's a project that I want to do. And I had shared about this on my FlossTube, that I want to do this exact blue. But it was Freedom by Gentle Arts, which I found, but it was out of stock almost everywhere before. But it's a gorgeous thread, and I bought up everything from this little shop that I had found this on. But 123 Stitches has that one in stock, so Freedom by Gentle Arts. So Their stuff, when it comes in stock, a lot of times it'll be out of stock right away. But any one of you that wants to do this for 4th of July, I got so many fibers, linen, wool, that embroidery floss is in. So, yeah, no, I don't know. It's like, I want to keep showing you all this stuff, but I also need to get doing stuff. What I want to share with you, I'm going to show you a quick look around. But first I want to tell you something. And then I'm going to show you the look around, but what I call the good stuff. So sharing my faith at the end of these videos. What I wanted to share with you this morning is kind of what happened the other day of talking, because I'd shared before about the world is changing, the United States is changing, and freedoms that we had are quickly, since January, being removed. And what are we going to do about it? And the consequences, what are the consequences? And I had shared a lot about that in the past in another video. And so yesterday, something came up with consequences for a choice that my husband and I have made, and just to keep our privacy and all that. It's just our views, what we hold dear, what we believe, what we stand for. I almost had 2 consequences, and one would have been a big one. But in that, a man's heart plans his way, but the Lord directs his steps. So I am praying about a lot of these things that are coming, that are about that's what I do. I just like, okay, Lord, help me do this, please. Help me this. Go before me in this. Help me figure out what to do about this. That's just what my head does during the day. So one thing that could have had a very big consequence in my life, God took care of. And in such a way, and in such a miraculous way, that's why I had to call Kurt. It was like, you won't believe this. This is what could have happened. But this is what my God did for me that I didn't even know about, and took care of me in this. So it was just like, wow. And then something else came up, something different, along those same exact lines, but something different in a conversation that I had with a friend that's making a different choice, and something that came up, and it was like, no hard feelings. I understand, and I know I have consequences that I may have to pay for this choice. And so we parted as friends, and then I called another friend that would have been part of this thing, and I said, this is what happened. And she's like, oh, bummer. And I said, well, maybe we can make a different plan. And so we were just catching up, and I was catching up about how, then she was sharing about something big in her life and how God took care of that too. And it was like, God is so good to us. So it doesn't mean that we don't have these things that weigh heavy on us, or things that happen. It just means that if we give it to God, it doesn't mean it's going to turn out the way we want. Doesn't mean it's going to be easy, but He's in it with us, helping, giving us the courage to walk through it. The whole cabin thing, giving us the courage to walk through something that wasn't fun. So then I called another friend. I said, okay, so this is what's going on with this. And she said, oh, this is a choice that I made, and this is how something's going to work out. And so I had to call my friend back and say, boom, turned out God is so good. He's taking care of us. And so in my thoughts is that verse, trust in the Lord with all of your heart. Lean not on your own understanding. Acknowledge the Lord in all of your ways, and He will make your path straight. So that's what I wanted to share with you about that, is life is hard, and it doesn't mean everything's going to go peachy keen. It means that God's in it with us, and He's going to give us the courage and the strength to walk through if that's our conviction based on something that He would want. He's in here with us, making it happen. So that's what I wanted to share with you. Let me give you I'm going to undo you. And so who knows what's going to happen. If it ends because I've done something, I'm not going to redo it. I'm just going to upload it. So God bless you. Thank you for watching, and may you choose joy nevertheless, like I'm trying to do. But if this works, I am going to show you my glorious mess. You may even see a quick view of the garden that I look at, and you're going to see you're going to see the stuff everywhere. This is Bonnie creating. So let's give this a try. You're going to get jiggled, so close your eyes. Close your eyes. Okay, you're coming off of the stand. Oh, and then you're even going to get to see what I look at when, okay, I want to not drop you because I call it, this is my iPad without its little protective case. So I'm just going to do it this way. Okay, so starting over here, that is my glorious fabric closet and all the stuff. So that's all my fabric in there. But how can I show you on the floor? Those are some of my wools all over the floor. This is my floor. And this is where Riley could hardly come in. Then I've got my woven. Then I've got my wool pattern. Then I've got flannel and woven. And there's my doorway. And there's the cart that I pull out of the closet to go in the doorway, and I have to squeeze by. But this is my cart. So this is where you get to see everything. Those are quilts that need work on. Those are project things up on top. Usually all three of the wheels of my floss are in that basket. All my notebooks, all my projects. Okay, here we are. This time fine because I can see what you're going to see. Here's Bonnie's couch. And I did find, luckily I thought, oh my gosh, what if I don't find the wool that goes with those pieces that are missing from that, because that's going to turn into a project bag. Okay, so this is what you usually see. Come closer up. Now, this BenQ light, amazing. This is actually at the slant that I was able to get it when I was doing my wool applique. Okay, let's look behind. This is my sewing table. My cross stitch stuff. I can see that there. This is all my stuff. My sewing table. And then I want you to see this. Even drawers pulled out as I was looking for some magnets to put inside that little box. There's my line sticking there. This is my table with my bar stool. Stuff there. That's my UFO cupboard. And look at even stuff on top of there because I was hopefully you can not going to stick. Okay, that's my cart that my cross stitch stuff is in with that pattern that I just got sticking out of that, and my notebook next to it, my iron. And this is my quilting table. Let's see over there. Yeah, there's my garden over So usually when I'm in my bar stool, I wanted you to see what's behind me, or see me when I'm working, because I love seeing what she's doing. Usually I've got stuff on my bar stool, so I can't sit down. But usually I'm sitting right here on the bar stool with my feet are up, my coffee is in my hand, and this quilt machine in my hand. So this is a Canadian quilt, and I'm going to share about it. I got my coffee cup here. This is what, oh, it smells so good. I'm going to brew another pot of coffee, and it's a little tiny pot. And I'm going to be sitting here. Now you will see what I look at when I look out my window. What I look at, I look straight at the closet, and then I get to see all my glorious collection of all types of things on the floor. So, you know, that's what, I don't know what I'm going to title this as, but it won't be a FlossTube. But this is just for those of you that want to see what it's like when I create, and hopefully you got to stitch and do stuff while I was just chatting. But I just get so inspired by Kate and the Last Homely House, and I just wanted to do this morning. So God bless you guys. I think this did work all the way to the end. So I will share with you upcoming video on all the stuff that I got to get finished. So God bless you guys. Bye-bye.